day, he was walking home from school. When he was walking home, he saw a snake. The snake was in his sidewalk. He didn't know what to do, so he just carefully went inside the house to grab a spatula. He put the spatula under the snake and he picked it up. He put it in back the wild, then he went home and it was all over. Dylan Dobrin, illustrated.
The other side of town. Once there was a little cat named Peach that wanted to see the other side of town, but her mom and dad did not let her see the other side of town because sometimes it could be unsafe. Some cats eat bad fish. One night Peach went to the other side of town and ate some fish and went home. The next morning, she was very sick. Her mom and dad asked her, "How did you get sick?" "I ate some moldy milk with my donuts. Mom tried to give me some flu killers, but I told the truth. I am so sad, but it's okay. I still love you, my Bubble."
By
By me, Jessica.
One time there was a pond named Living. At this pond was a giant white deer made of black butterflies. Her name is Dora. Dora always liked people coming to the pond and whizzing to visit her, but she would always have to stay hidden. The great spirit of whizzing pond once told her, "The ravens will come and eat your black butterflies." But Dora went out into the open and her butterflies flew away. Now till this day, Dora is just a piece of bacon. The end. By her.
Once upon a time in a city far, far away, a coffee maker fell and started a flame. The rescue vehicles came to the emergency. They tried and tried to put out the fire, but after 4 hours they finally got the fire out. When they got back, they had a party. During the party, they were watching the Packers versus the 49ers. This is a way for the firefighters to celebrate their success. By Jim.
Lovely man who got away. Once upon a time, there was a man that lived alone. His name was Joe. He lived happy with what he had, so he never asked for anything, not even a wife. One day, he came across a beautiful woman. Joe was proud of himself for finding such a woman. Then they went on a date that night. He was overjoyed. That date went so well, he finally wished for something else than what he had. He finally wished for a wife. That day he could not sleep, he could not eat. That night they went on another date with the same woman. That went better than the last one. Then they went on 12 more dates. On their 13th date, Joe finally asked for a hand in marriage. She said yes. They had a lovely wedding, and Joe was still happy with or without a wife.
The Great Pumpkin. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Bob. He had a goal to grow the biggest pumpkin in the world. So he got pumpkin seeds and glued them all together. Next, he buried them in his backyard. Then in a week, he saw a teeny little sprout. In another week, he saw a pumpkin flower. In 3 weeks, there was a green pumpkin. In 2 weeks, there was a small orange glowing pumpkin. Then Bob said, "Well, let's leave it until I have the biggest pumpkin in the world." So after 3 weeks, he had a 100-foot tall pumpkin. Then his friend walked by and said, "Wow, that's a big pumpkin. Why don't you enter in the pumpkin contest? The tallest pumpkin wins." And Bob said, "Okay." Meanwhile, this mean boy named Bill was watching. He wanted to win the contest, so he thought of a plan. What if I hide the pumpkin so he can't enter it in the contest, and then I will win the contest. So that night, after everyone was in bed, he snuck in their yard and hid the pumpkin. The next morning, when Bob went to get his pumpkin ready, he realized the pumpkin was missing. He went out to find it. He looked in the marsh. He finally found it in Billy's backyard. So he grabbed a trailer and loaded it up and took it to the contest. When the judges looked at it, they said, "You win first prize. You win a pumpkin pie." So he took his pie and his pumpkin and went home and let Billy have the pumpkin. They lived happily ever after. The end. By Matthew Steinhardt.
There was two kids named Dalton and Jack. They wanted to play with swords and Mom said, "Be careful." Jack, on the other hand, was not careful. He poked Dalton in the arm. He started to bleed. Dalton ran in the house and told Mom. She told Jack to go to his room. He was grounded for 3 whole entire weeks. 3 weeks went past, and Jack was no longer grounded. The boys went outside and played cops and robbers. Dalton was a cop and Jack was the robber. Jack stole a diamond jewel. Dalton ran until he finally got Jack. He grabbed his arm and put handcuffs on. They had a lot of fun. Then it was time for supper. They both ran into the house and had a good meal. After that, they continued playing an awesome game of cops and robbers. Then it was time for bed. They both had a good night's sleep. Then they played cops and robbers again the next day. They had a lot of fun.
The end. By Alexis.
Bye, Alexis.
One day there were these two boys named Dalton and Jack. They were playing outside and then their mom came outside. She said, "Be careful, I am going to put these pumpkins under the haystack." Then Dalton fell off and broke his arm on a pumpkin. Mom took full responsibility. So the mom took him home from the hospital, and when Dalton got home, he had a blue cast on his arm. Mom said, "Can I get anything for you?" Dalton said, "No, thank you." Dalton was angry. He wanted to play outside with his brother Jack. 5 months later, the cast was off his arm, and his brother finally said, "Would you like to play swords with me?" "Sure, I would like that." So then Dalton and Jack were playing the game Sword with his little brother. Then Dalton was happy now. That end. By Julia.
First attack. One day in 1907, something happened that was not right. There were sharks falling down from the sky trying to eat people, so people had to take shelter. They left their caramel apples outside, so they had no food. After it was all over, they were very ill because of the lack of food. After years, they were well again, and everything was okay. Then it was all over, and they lived their normal lives again. Written by Riley, illustrated by Tate.
House in the country. It was always sunny and warm. It was a very tall house. People knew a lot about the house, but they didn't know it was haunted. 2 people went in and neither came out. Nearby town police decided to take a look inside. So about a week later, 1,000 police cars were parked outside the house. A group of police went into the house. "Wow, someone knew the police." "Oh no," said another. They went through the house until they got to a hallway with pictures of Elmo. "Ah!" yelled one of the police. They ran screaming like a bunch of little girls right into the cellar where they found a dancing banana with a crazy hat. "Ah!" yelled the police. Once again they went running like little girls again into the kitchen. "Let's have a snack," said one of the police. He started to open the fridge, but the leader yelled, "Don't do it! Sorry, but today has been stressful," said the police. He opened the fridge and inside was something too horrible to tell. "Fine, I'll tell you, but don't blame me." There were dancing burgers, dancing pickles, dancing hamburgers, and dancing fruits and vegetables. "See, I told you, right?" "Ah!" all the police officers. They went running out of the house and into the town. The end. Bye.